This episode is brought to you by Cruising Bears, a global travel community built on giving bears, chubs, and chasers the ultimate vacation escape. Visit bigfatgaycruise.com for details.
Hello and happy Valentine's Day.
Yay!
Welcome to the Big Fat Gay Podcast, where we talk about the things that are weighing on our minds. I'm Trevor Keyson. I'm a super chub, and I'm your resident Cupid up in the bell tower with my little bow and arrow, ready to make everyone fall in love, whether they want it or not. I almost said make love, but it's like, I guess that too. But
Yeah,
That's a whole different show.
we can do all kinds of things on here. We can do whatever we want. Hi, my name is Michael Willer. I'm a chubby chaser, and I'm lying down next to Trevor in the spotter's tower. I've got the eyeglass, and I'm pointing people out that really, really need it.
Oh my God, it's like romance at Kent State. This is terrifying. Hi, my name's Don. I'm a big chubby guy living here in sunny Hollywood. And today I am wondering why I'm the only one who came dressed with the diaper and the bow and arrow. This is not okay, people. I was told to come in costume. Why am I alone?
I'm wearing diapers under this. Hi, I'm Dan Oliverio, author, public speaker, and diaper-wearing chubby chaser.
Oh boy!
No, I'm not. I'm escorting people off the field as they've been shot in the ass with a love arrow, helping them to stretchers, getting them to hospital beds where they're becoming incredibly amorous.
So basically you're a love first responder,
I'm
is
a
what you're
love
saying?
first responder. When love appears, I rush in.
as always, thank you to our patrons on Patreon, to our listeners who just listen, to our partners, Big Fig and Bearskin, and our new lovely partners, Cruising Bears.
Yeah.
If you're in the mood for love, it's not too late to book their mega rockstar cruise, which is going to Bermuda, departing from New York April 11th this year.
Hop on board.
Go to bigfatgaycruise.com to check out details about that or other cruises coming up this year. There's they're doing bigger cruise to Alaska, which I love the idea of that. I like the idea of just like being on a boat and like just seeing ice.
Like glaciers go
A
by.
different kind of ice.
Yeah.
Drinking ice water
God.
and looking at the ice.
Yeah.
And just being like, we needed this.
No, really. I mean, Trevor puts an uncommon amount of ice in his drinks, and I just can't wait to be able to lean out the window and just get some.
And don't forget, after you book your tickets for the cruise, you can get 15% off of the bathing suit you're going to wear on the Arctic cruise.
Yes.
Yeah.
At Bearskin, using our Big Fat Gay Pod promo code.
I am currently wearing a pair of bearskin underwear right now.
Under your diaper.
Are they the
I know.
watermelon? Are they still the watermelon ones? Have you not taken them off
This
since
is
last week?
the watermelon ones are my favorite, but this is the other. This is like the black with red. The
red piping.
Yeah, piping. Oh, that's an interesting choice of words.
Red details?
It's for when he lays pipe.
Tell us about your favorite bearskin underwear on our Discord, or send something to Dan to share in whenever a newsletter comes out. Who knows?
Who knows? That's really the fun of it, people.
We will, by the time we air this episode, we will have done our watch party on Discord of my big gay Italian wedding.
Yes.
The night before. So we haven't done it yet, but we will by the time this comes out. So that doesn't help you, but it should be a fun time. We do these every so often. We have lots of like chats and memes and things and people hanging out and being fat and fun. And it's a good time.
So why are we here today, gentlemen? What special event gathers us together on this very special occasion?
El Día de San Valentín.
What?
We had very
Do we have
loud.
a Valentine's Day elf today? The Italian Valentine's Day elf?
Oh, yes, the Valentine's Day is very important in Italy. This day is a special.
The in-person energy never gets old.
No, it's Valentine's Day. We are excited. We got some letters. We have some mail. We have some voicemail. We have some blast from the past, maybe.
Yeah. And we very specifically had a listener write in lamenting that he likes hearing the mailbag music. And so even though we don't normally do that for Valentine's Day, we're going to play it for him just for fun.
Yeah.
He purposely didn't send in an audio recording so he could hear us read and therefore trigger
The mailbag.
The
music.
mailbag.
So let's do it.
Yay.
Our listener writes in, Aloha Fab Four. I've been wrestling with how to phrase a Valentine's Day question when you beat me to the punch with your recent episode on being cocky and not just confident. Here's what I hope you could dive into deeper. I'm attracted to a wide range of sizes, but where I live, guys don't describe themselves as fat until they are really fat. They say average or athletic, even if they're carrying a lot of extra weight. So most men I meet don't see themselves as fat and don't appreciate how sexy they are to me. Add to that, most men my age may be heavier because of hormone changes, and they don't want to be noticed for the extra weight. You gave good tips on making a fat guy more comfortable, to go from confident to cocky, the latter of which is much more fun intimately. What are some ways to help a recently fat or slightly chunky guy enjoy himself and therefore my attraction more? I've been burned countless times by making any comments with my mouth or hands. It's like eating without swallowing. Thoughts?
Love that. I love that a lot. I have things to say, but I'm sure you do too.
I feel like I have a little bit of firsthand experience with this from both sides of the equation.
Yeah.
But as someone who's put on enough weight, in the last few years that I get hit on by chasers and chub for chubs on Bigger City somewhat regularly, I think that for the chub who's maybe recently gained weight or changed size categories or whatever, don't assume that you know what people want you to look like. Meaning, just because
this is for the chub. Obviously.
Yeah, this is for the chub.
Yeah.
And I guess I kind of learned this because I think my, first, 10 or so years of being sexually active as an adult, 20 to 30-ish, I was very much in that kind of, thinner, athletic, twinker sort of category. And just because that worked for me, I assumed that's what I had to be always.
Yeah.
And is really not the case. But other people are going to have a hard time enjoying your body if you don't get there as well, if you can't sort of meet them there. And if you're uncomfortable with newly gained weight, or you feel like, oh, well, I know I look fine right now, but really I should look this other way to really, really be attractive, even if it means that you think you should weigh more as a chub, if that feels like that's going to get you more action and you don't apologize for how you look, basically. Just embrace it.
And there's a catch-22 here, because I appreciate our writer's position. There was a woman who told me once, because she was very much betwixt and between about I want to be appreciated, but I don't want to be appreciated for that. Blah, blah, blah. And she said, I don't want a guy to touch my belly, but I don't want him to avoid touching my belly. It's like, I think I see your problem.
So this is a trap.
Let me address that, because I actually get that.
Of course you do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not irrational.
Yes, I want you to touch my belly. I just don't want it to be the first thing you touch when you introduce yourself to me.
Oh, the chaser handshake.
The chaser handshake, right? And I hate to say this, but the chaser handshake permeates chaser sexual overtures, right?
Maybe a little explainer here. The chaser handshake, for those of the uninitiated, is basically when a guy comes up to you in some sort of, even if it's a chub chaser setting, but instead of having a big smile, or instead of putting a hand on your shoulder, if they know you, the hand goes immediately to the belly.
I think that's even...
Or the boob.
Which is even, it's a bit much.
Because I am all for the chaser handshake. I'm all for my belly being touched. But there is, when... they're coming from across the room and they are locked on the belly. Their head is tilted down.
Incoming missile.
But I'm sorry.
Their head is tilted down, and it's and you try to talk to them, and they're just kind of it is I like being objectified, but at this point it's no, but objectify me on my terms.
Okay.
You can do that.
Well, that's what it is.
I need the eye contact, and then you can go down.
Okay, but hold up. I'm not talking about meeting. I'm talking about the day-to-day act of intimacy, of getting to know that person's body, right? So if the first time you sexually advance towards me, it's just boom, hands on the tummy.
Yeah, no.
You're going to get rejected, right? Because you're hitting me in my least secure area, right? I don't know you that well yet, right? We're still getting to know each other, right? So I'm going to suggest warm to the belly, right? Touch my shoulder first.
Yeah.
Show me some intimacy. Show me some connection. Show me that my leg is attractive to you too. Show me that, like, touch my hand. Don't make it all about two body parts, because then you're obsessing about the thing that I'm afraid of you noticing when I'm insecure at that early point of fatness, right? Show me you're interested in all of me, and then show me you're also interested in the body parts that I'm sensitive about.
Yes.
After you've been invited in onto my body to play.
And that's great, but it still remains our writer's question, which is that, even if you do all that, then a lot of chubs will, again, they don't identify as such, will be like, well then, yeah, of course you touch my shoulder. Of course you touch my leg. Of course why are you touching my belly? No, and why are you doing it like that? Like that still comes as a speed bump at the very least. And so I would say in answering the letter, because the letter is basically, what can I do? What can the chaser do? Which is is self-disclose. Most these days, and I realize some people still meet people in person, which is fine. But the benefit of an app, even if it's Grindr, which is, and I say even Grindr because it's so wholesale, it's so everybody.
Yeah, it's.
And yes, even chubs are there, even chasers are there, even gainers are there, even encouragers are there. There's some slings and arrows to be suffered in some cases, but the point is, when you're online, if you self-disclose of this is what I like, if you are a slim chaser and you disclose on your profile, I like fat guys. Yes, you're going to get hit up by non-fat guys. Yes, you will. But you can always say then, as you can see by my profile, thank you very much for your attention, but I will pass it this time.
Yeah, I think that's key, and I think it's there's sort of an interesting thing that maybe I don't know. I'm curious, like what people think about this. There are definitely people who are body type agnostic. They're you could be fat, you could be thin, you could be muscular, you could be.
It's not a huge deal to them.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. But part of that sometimes looks like, oh, I also like fat guys, or I also like chubs, and I think there's a difference between I also like and I am a chaser. My attraction is centered around fatness, and if my ability to express that attraction to a fat person isn't out in the open, like from the outset, it's really uncomfortable trying to figure out, when do I bring this up? And
the longer you wait, the worse it'll get.
And I've done that before.
Don.
Yeah.
You said that your belly is a point of discomfort or
I'm giving that as an example. If I were newly fat, I would be focused on the body parts, the portions of my body that I'm most insecure about.
Yeah. Right.
So
naturally,
what is language for someone to compliment that you would find agreeable, or maybe even just the least terrible version that someone could stumble into that
as like a stepping stone?
If there is such language, I'm not sure there is.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure if there is language I would say is just immediately like, oh yeah, that's the way to go. I'm not going to say that there isn't language that exists. It just doesn't necessarily occur to me what that might be. I'm going to emphasize again, it's body language. It's but as our writer points out, he's tried the body language too. It doesn't go any better. The point is, you have to let them come to you. And that's why, even let's say you meet a chub in the wild.
Who's them?
You have to let the chub come to the chaser.
Got it.
And that is to say, like, this is information about me. I'm not going after you because you're fat. It's that, for example, let's say you meet a chub in the grocery store, and let's say, oh, it kind of looks like there might be mutual interest, but you don't know how they feel about being fat or about dating someone who is fat attracted. So something you can do is say, hey, why don't you check me out? Here's my Instagram, and here's my profile on Grindr, or here's my whatever on whatever.
On Bigger City. What's Bigger City? Well.
Yeah, exactly. So you put it in the conversation. It's upfront. It is not personalized to that particular chub. Like, you're not calling them fat, but are they going to come away from the conversation thinking that might have been part of it? Yeah, but I think that's okay. You haven't like targeted.
Yeah,
them.
You didn't single them out.
You're saying you're kind of, and this is only if you meet out in the world. If you meet online, then it should be right up front.
Right.
I will also say that I think this is good advice for somebody who has been a fat person for a while. I think if you approach a newly fat person like this and say, "Hey, I like fat guys, and I think you're pretty hot,"
that's
that is going to go over really badly with a lot of the people.
No, and you know I don't mean that, right? I'm talking.
I know, but the question we're dealing with is specifically.
Oh yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, like I don't think this is.
You know why I like fat guys, and you caught my eye.
Yeah. No, that's why I'm saying like the reassurance of first just establish I am attracted to you, right?
Yeah.
And allow that attraction not to be focused on any one thing. I'm attracted to all of you.
It is,
right?
but at some point,
that reassurance is what's going to get somebody across the finish line.
That I think if a chub is not used, if doesn't identify as a chub, that is going to at some point when they find out that person is liking how fat they are, that is going to be a big deal.
I'm not saying that's the ending point, but I'm saying that's how you get started.
Well, maybe, but there's going to be a big deal.
I think you guys are sort of saying the same thing, but at two different stages.
Yeah.
What I'm understanding is that what Don is saying and what I would understand and what I would also encourage is like as the chaser expressing attraction, and if you get to the point of being able to touch each other, start with the most kind of vanilla type of touch you can.
Yeah.
I think is just generally. But what Dan is pointing to is if the person, before you get to that point, if that person doesn't see themselves as a quote unquote chub and they just are sort of, I'm just a gay guy, but they happen to have a fatter body and that's why the chaser has showed up, there is going to be a point where somebody's going to pull the ripcord and get the hell out because they are either about to get hurt or they just got hurt because the expression of attraction is never going to get heard.
Said another way, Don, I completely agree with what you're saying, but self-disclosure on the chaser's part has to come first.
You have to come out as a chaser before sexual activity begins?
Before anything.
Before anything begins. Anything begins.
Well,
early as possible.
Yeah.
Something that just occurred to me. So we're talking about vanilla touch.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not that, because I feel like in vanilla touch, just like the torso is, I feel like vanilla for most people because there's not the trauma.
Touch.
Yeah, because there's not like.
I guess I meant instead of grabbing, like rubbing and caressing and moving past area, like that's sort of.
But
what
I feel like that
about.
can still be.
It's going to escalate.
Yeah,
I mean, feel like
it totally
it's
is
tricky because I feel like, and also just like the mechanics of moving around with someone, especially at larger, like you might need to grab onto something just for.
Well, and then you get into this whole self-censorship with the chaser where he's watching himself make love and like, is this authorized?
That's rough.
It just shuts everything down. No, but if you self-disclose before you get anywhere near that, they can make the choice. They are opting in rather than you being sprung upon them.
Right.
I'm going to point out, I feel like this is very situational. Someone who is newly fat or doesn't considers themselves fat, you may be closing the door on an encounter with them.
Well, again, what I mean by self-disclosure is not saying, I'm a chubby chaser, young man. I don't mean that. I mean, you direct them to your socials where they will discover this. And you will not be there for them discovering it.
Yeah. And then they get to opt in or opt out.
Exactly.
Depending on whether or not they're open to it.
They can choose to respond and like, saw your line, ding, ding, ding. Yeah, let's set something up via social media or not. They can run scurrying. And the point is not to have that encounter live where it is the most uncomfortable for both people.
Right.
I think especially at a grocery store. I know that was just an example, but I feel like
that's where it happens.
I know, but I feel
it's
like
that
is just, I feel like for a fat person that is like, I feel like usually the fat people horror stories, it's usually someone trying to take stuff out of the grocery cart because it's like, I'm a personal trainer or whatever.
Did you say horror stories or horror stories?
Horror stories.
Okay.
Not the horse. That's a different type of story.
No, but I mean, people are commonly in grocery
supermarket
stores.
are you going to?
Yeah.
People are in grocery stores once or twice a week. People are in hardware stores or beauty salons once or twice a month,
No, it is very tricky.
Yeah, there definitely doesn't seem to be like a hard and fast answer. This is the correct way to do it. Because each different guy you approach has a very different psyche and may react to different situations in different ways, right? Get to know the guy that you're approaching and customize,
I'm just trying to avoid that big explosion at one point down the road.
Yeah, I think pointing people to
your social media,
your social and
where you disclose,
you know, and then letting them figure it out kind of in their
Absolutely.
own space in their own time. That I would advocate for. Having done that the other way, where I was sort of like interested in somebody, and then eventually I hit the point of like, oh, I'm going over to his place and we're gonna like have dinner, and then whatever happens after. And I was like, oh, this hasn't come up yet.
Yeah.
And he hasn't seen my social. I didn't have a partner at the time.
I have dealt with this so many times in person. Yep.
It was, and then it was like too late by that point. And so like it now is something that has to happen in person. Wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah, I try to work it into conversation. That's what I've done in the past, where you meet somebody in the wild and they're like, I just try to work it into like, I'm like, oh, are you on the apps? Like, I'm on Bigger City. And then that will start a conversation. And I do that early enough that it's just, we're making eye contact and we might be interested. We haven't set up a date. We're
Right.
just talking. We're two guys at Starbucks talking. We're in the grocery store talking. And I mentioned the apps and I mentioned Bigger City. I've got to work it into the conversation easily that they can check it out and then opt in or opt out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough, but that I would back that up.
Yeah.
I think Bigger City should have like special decoder rings. She can be like, oh, this is my Bigger City decoder ring. Don't you have one?
I love that it's a decoder ring. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it in the box of Cracker Jack. Extra large Cracker Jack.
It's the family size.
It's the family size.
Well, we've got more letters to get to.
We do.
Do our next one?
All right, here we go. Hi, guys. Well, 2025 was a roller coaster in which I found myself dating two different Irish chasers, one in the first half of the year and the other in the second.
First question answered simultaneously.
This resulted in me traveling to Ireland twice and each of them coming to the U.S. once. I have never done international long-distance dating, much less with two different men from the same country. It proved difficult, but I have no regrets and got to see a beautiful country twice.
Yeah.
Also, it has renewed my commitment to attend Chub Chaser events with some gusto. I'm so grateful for the Chubs and Chasers who will take the chance and reach beyond their little worlds. Communication is key, even if a person is a vibrant and frequent texter. Daily check-ins aren't enough. You have to get to know his work life, his friend group, his family dynamics, and what makes him happy. Phone calls and FaceTime are so valuable. By the way, in case you're wondering, Irish guy number one was closer to my age, 40s, and we both had established careers. Talking about the possibility of a longer-term, shorter-distance relationship meant considerations that were uncomfortable for us both. In particular, where and how to resettle together. Irish guy number two was 20 years younger than me, and he had an easier time thinking about relocating and other big changes. Both wanted me to consider moving to Ireland more than their moving to the US. But both were enthusiastic about the number of fat people in America and lamented that Europeans had such an open disdain and contempt for fat people. They felt that fat people in America seemed more liberated. While they don't always feel liberated as a fat person in America, it was valuable new perspective nonetheless.
Long distance relationships are really, you are on a fast track from the get-go, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Because
the conversation is immediately, how are we moving in together?
Yeah. Like there is the occasion, I think, in rare circumstances where long distance is the correct distance for that couple. But I would argue almost never. Most of the time, people want to cohabitate, and that's the ultimate goal. And in the Chub Chaser world, you're probably meeting people outside of your area online.
Yeah, whether it's Ireland or Idaho.
Yeah, some distance that you can't just pop over to.
Right.
Yeah.
And that somebody has made their life there. With work from home, yeah, maybe there's more opportunities if you don't have an established career, but like you're ultimately having the conversation of, okay, so when do we move in together and where?
Yeah.
Early.
Well, or even like, how do we date?
Yeah.
Because, yes, dating can be a series of Zoom calls, but what I have found is the reason you say, Michael, that it is so front-loaded, like everything in the relationship seems so front-loaded, meaning you have to deal with it first, is because a relationship without the possibility of a future isn't really a relationship. It's friends with benefits, it's pen pals, it's whatever, which is great. That's not a problem. Unless it's a problem, unless what you're looking for is a relationship. So there always has to be the possibility of of there being something at the end of that rainbow. Now, if you don't want that at the end of the rainbow, then you have no problem. Then you have a great friend in another country. I will also say that I really appreciate that thing of like, you know, I'm in my 40s, I have my career. If you're in your 40s, you're probably at the height of your career. And the last thing you're thinking about is giving it all up. If you're in your 20s, you could build your career, you could be here, you could build it there. If you're in your 50s or going on 60s, well, you've kind of had your career maybe. And you're like, well, you know, I could shut this down, I could move. But you got to get that finding Mr. Right in your backyard is extremely unlikely. Yes, it happens. It absolutely happens. But it is extremely unlikely. And what I say is, if people who say, I only date guys who are local, well, local is any place you can get to. And you can get to Ireland. Now, as far as which country to relocate to, well, that's a huge question. I will say, personally, if I were single and I were thinking about dating somebody in Europe, I'd be on a plane yesterday. And a lot of, if you're even considering this, a lot of European countries have very generous visa packages for exactly this. There's digital nomads. There are visa packages for people who will basically bring money into the country because they're making their money online. So there's a lot of ways into this. Them coming here is incredibly difficult and a little scary.
And there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't necessarily want to have that as option one.
Marriage might protect you, although with current ICE raids, I don't think so. But again, they're not looking for white people, so you're okay if that's the case. Unfortunately,
I think it's tricky.
I mean,
I think
assuming the person you're talking about is white.
Well, in the case of an Irish guy,
it doesn't get much whiter.
No, I think it's interesting because I feel like if this were a different time,
it would be different time.
It would be a different answer because I do feel like there's a lot of good points about just like fat liberation, but also just like fat accessibility in America versus Ireland.
In space.
That's a good point.
No, America is far more accessible for fat people. It's far more liberated in a lot of reasons, especially compared to the UK or the British Isles.
And you'll have more, accommodations.
It's always interesting for me to hear about fat life, fat liberation, the chub chaser scene / bear scene with anyone I meet, like be it, gainer, chaser, encourager, whatever, overseas versus here, and just how much they love it here because just the vibes are so different and just the culture. I think even just a little bit around like gay culture.
Gay culture is very different in America than in Europe too.
And it's just that like I have a chaser friend who's based out of the UK, and he's just like the guys here are just so much better because like they're bigger, but also just like he finds that there's less
here in
the United States versus
they're bigger,
England.
but they're more what?
And they're more comfortable with their bodies and just like
there's less hate on them.
Less hate, and it's but I think also it's like bigger because it's just like culture. Like I think it's bigger than fat stuff. I think it's also just like culture, and like emotional culture, emotional health.
As somebody who spent many years with doing long distance dating, it's tough, and even if you don't have that conversation right away, you still have to think about it. You've got to really consider, okay, am I willing to leave? Maybe that's not the plan. Maybe that's not even our first, if we have talked about it and like but
it's a thought in your head that it wouldn't be if they were just across town.
Yeah. And it wouldn't be. And, that will preclude a lot of things from happening if the answer is no, and the answer is no for the other person too. You don't really get the luxury of like, let's just see what happens.
No,
you kind of have to be more intentional about it.
And my only suggestion, and there's a lot of privilege assumed in this, but if you can say yes, the opportunity in saying yes to long distance, that yes, I could move, maybe I don't want to, I'd have to get there. Like there's a whole bunch of things in my life, being the age I am, where, looking back, the answer was absolutely not. And then I did it.
My big concern so I am a sexual being. I like sex. It's difficult to have sex with somebody who's on the other coast. Like,
true.
How do you deal with that? Right? Like, do you just have to deal with either open relationship or sexual monogamy and long dry spells? Are there other options?
Well, a lot of long distance couples do not have monogamy for that reason.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Open relationship or sexual dry spells. Like, is there another option? You know,
I don't know if there's another option necessarily. I've done, all of my long distance dating has been monogamous. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that it necessarily bothered me, but we'll maybe get to this later, but the non-monogamous relationship, I think, also has a huge number of benefits. But, it's going to depend on the people involved and what it is that you're building together.
But it's something to consider when you are considering a long distance relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
Think about this. If you don't have, and what I'm really talking about is hope. Mm-hmm. If you are dating someone, let's say in a foreign country, there has to be the hope that you might someday be together. Mm-hmm. Now, if you have that, and that hope is based in some sort of reality, like, I don't know how, but I would do it. Like, that would be hope. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know how he's going to get here, but I have hope that it's possible. As opposed to, no, I've made a fiat decision that it is impossible, which, okay, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. And I'm just saying, keep hope alive. So then if you have the hope that, yes, we can do that, then what it becomes is, if you have this monogamy versus non-monogamy, I don't know how we're going to be together, but I'm committed to our being together, and we're not having sex until we do. That is an interesting facet to a relationship. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but I'm saying note that you are doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think also then there's if with the open relationship, there is the possibility of, especially I think with just the difference in the scenes in Ireland versus here.
Oh, yeah.
Like the disparity in that open relationship where
the availability of partners.
You could be in an open relationship, but be going through a dry spell still until whatever it is, just because of availability, compatibility, whatever. Yeah,
no, I was talking to a chaser very recently, and he was asking about monogamy and non-monogamy, and it was a long-distance situation. And he said, we were monogamous, but it didn't really come up because neither of us was having sex with anybody else anyway. I'm like, okay, well, that kind of takes care of that.
Forced monogamy.
Well, it's just with lack of opportunity came ease of enforcement.
Yeah. I personally did not find the monogamy to be
crushing
a big deal. I don't know. I
mean, it really seems to depend on the person.
I think for sure. And the time of life.
Depends on
the time of life. Yeah.
And also at least in the recent example, my partner and I started long distance and then are now living together and have for a few years. But I don't know. I was so enamored with him that I was
no one could compete.
Kind of, yeah. I just didn't feel incredibly tempted because I just,
Yes, and by the way,
that might be a really strong indicator that a relationship is a good one.
But also, don't use that as a litmus test. Since I am interested in other guys, I must not be in love with you.
No. That's just my own experience. But I think it's. That also was very much eased by the fact that our visits could be weeks. We were able to stay together
and you saw each other rather frequently for a long distance couple.
Yeah, I think we were long distance for about 2 years.
And how often did you see each other?
And we spent at least half that time together.
There you go.
So, and part of that was because it was during quarantine. And
you both had work from home jobs, I think?
We both work from home. And so there's a lot of just we're going to just be in a room and do our thing. And that kind of worked for us. And that's not necessarily going to work for everyone. But I think there was a lot of ingredients in that recipe that made that easier.
Yeah.
That aren't necessarily going to be present for anyone else doing a long distance thing.
Yeah. So it's not impossible, but it does take some engineering.
Yeah. Yeah. We got kind of lucky there.
I mean, so it sounds like for this listener, both of these relationships, situationships, whatever, are over. But I would be curious for updates with long distance or just more. I think especially international long distance. I would love to hear stories about that.
Plan.
That's a whole other. That's intense long distance.
And I think we need to partner with the Irish government. for a super chub relocation program.
Yeah.
I think other countries should be willing to partner with us too.
Yeah.
Dear Lord, freaking Dubai apparently is.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I don't know if
Major
they're gonna.
Ever, like half my texts come from Dubai or Saudi
yeah,
Arabia.
that's a whole other thing. No, there's a thing that I always quote where it's basically someone's desire for you is directly proportional to their distance from you.
Yeah, always.
So we have a voice note from a listener.
Yay.
Which is always very exciting.
Hello, Big Fat Gay Pod. My name is Darcy, and I'm a super chub based out of Ontario, Canada. I'm reaching out this Valentine's Day for dating advice. I'm in my mid-30s, and I haven't had an opportunity to date anyone seriously since I was 19. And even then, that experience wasn't very helpful, mostly because my ex was hiding a long-term girlfriend at the time and strung me along just because he wanted to hook up. Now I'm at the point in my life when chasers really seem to expect more experience. I know I get hung up about it, especially when trying to connect with guys my age, because I kind of still feel like I'm a teenager in this sense. And when my inexperience eventually comes up in conversation, most of the chasers I've tried with get hung up about it too. Do you guys have any advice on how to move past this and stop it from being a roadblock on my journey to finding a partner? But thanks for everything you all do to make the space more of a community.
My words
yes.
are for the fucking chasers in this situation, but yeah.
I don't know. You want to go first or shall I go first?
I mean, the person you're talking to is a real person. They're not some walking fantasy. And don't treat them like that. Like,
but that's not necessarily the problem.
that they don't have enough experience for you, and that's like...
Well, here's the danger. Like Darcy says, he feels a bit like a teenager. And for a lot of chasers, they are actually very scared of the responsibility of being that for someone. Like I've run into this from chasers a lot where they're like, I would never want to be someone's first. Oh my God, can you imagine the responsibility? And not that, obviously it's not going to be his first, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of people who don't want to teach and aren't good at it. They may be brilliant, but they're not good at the teaching part. And so I think that is a valid, it's okay that don't force that.
Are we sure that that's what was happening? Because
not in all cases, but I think in a lot.
My impression of what he wrote is, or what he said is that his lack of experience was like unappealing in a being with you is not going to be a very good time because you don't really know what you're doing. Therefore, I'm not going to bother.
That's, as I say, they don't want to teach.
So I've had the opposite experience. I just want to throw this in here real quick, where I was hooking up with a young guy, right? I actually found him very attractive. I was really looking forward to it. And then he showed up with the most sort of like matter of fact, like, are you a top or a bottom? Just say it, right? Which are you? All right. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. Boom, 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 boom. And it was so like not
fun,
romantic or like you have a checklist of things you want, but like I'm allowed to take options off the menu, but yeah, like there was I wasn't really involved with his scheme apparently.
Well, you were ordering on a kiosk,
Yeah. And so I was actually turned off.
Of course.
I would be.
By his extra experience in the area.
Well, right? What I thought you were going to say, and I think this could be the case, is that maybe he was very inexperienced and this was the bravura of getting through all that. I'm making that shit up, but it's possible. But I think again, apropos of but what's Darcy going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a little bit of a different take on this. I have a lot of experience. I get with guys who have experience, but I find that very often in the case of even when a guy has experience because of my size,
they don't have that experience.
They don't have that experience.
Yeah.
And often there is with that then excitement that creates, and I think even just no matter how much you date, there are scenarios where you feel like a teenager again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. I think for not just chubs and chasers, I think for everyone in all walks of life. I was thinking about this because I had heard this before everyone because I put the episode together. And I was thinking of a friend of Dan's from high school who is, cis straight woman. I was thinking of when a straight woman who had kids, divorced in her 50s, and she had an experience that she I don't know if she told you about this. I was at a
Maybe
party,
not.
but like making out in the parking lot in a car with a guy, like total like teenage date stuff.
Yeah.
And just like how it was just this like refreshing.
Well, because she'd never
exciting
done that
experience.
before. She'd never done that in her life.
I don't even think when she was a teenager.
That's what I mean.
So I think it is uncomfortable, but I think embracing that, like, it's new and exciting. And I think also just like, if you don't experience that, I think it can be, being in those scenarios again can be scary, but it can also just be very exciting.
And I do want to put in here, because of where you started with this, Michael, that I've heard from a lot of chubs, they don't want to teach. They don't want an inexperienced chaser. Maybe even, yes, because Trevor doesn't. Especially whether it's inexperience with sex or inexperience with size or inexperience with accommodation. There is a lot more teaching going on with the chub teaching a chaser, believe me.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of big guys I've heard say, like, I ain't in it. Don't come to me with that. So, but I want to focus this back on Darcy.
Yes.
And what is Darcy going to do about this?
Yeah.
And I have some ideas about this. I sort of bring this back to what I was saying to our first letter writer, which is self-disclose. If it comes to that speed bump of, oh, by the way, I should let you know I'm inexperienced. Oh, by the way, I should let you know I'm a chubby chaser and I get off on how fat you are. There are like that disclosure is going to do something in the room. And the best thing you can do is preempt it by having on a profile, by having, I've read profiles like this. You know, I have very little experience dating. I have very little experience in the chub chaser world, if you're a chaser. I have very little experience, whatever, but I'm willing to learn. ... And what that does is it opens the door for chasers like me who are more than willing to teach, who are eager to teach. Yeah. I think, Michael, you'd be in that same camp.
So that's why it sort of hit me the way it did initially, because I was like, what an opportunity.
What an opportunity.
Yeah, not everyone's going to say that.
Yeah, and not everyone's going to say that. And that's okay. That's okay. Some, like, you know, my father was brilliant. He was a terrible, terrible teacher, and he knew that. He would say, I'm not the one to teach you this. He would say that. So, and yes, you can have a good time with those people, but that's not what they do. In the same way, you know, that how burdensome is it when a chub has to teach a chaser how to handle their body? For some chubs, that's an opportunity. And for some chubs, that is like, what am I doing here?
I have also come across the difference in, like, we use terms like chub, super chub as, you know, catch-alls, but really the difference between, you know, a 5'6" person who's 400 pounds and a different 5'6" person who's 400 pounds could be monumental.
Oh, yeah.
In how they are able to move,
how they carry it, what they can do,
what their shape is, what you could do with one person you may not be able to do with the other person, because people are just different. People
They're built different.
So like experience doesn't even necessarily mean experience when you're with a new person.
Yeah, we were talking last night and you made this thing like, just experience with a particular height and weight is not experience with necessarily that body type.
Yeah.
And certainly, as Don points out, the person inside that body.
Yeah. Which is, it just goes back to the same thing. This is a person, it's a real person, a new person who's going to have probably at least a slightly different dynamic with you than, you know, you would have with another similar person.
Yeah. And as far as the experience, just disclose it and let people opt in.
Yeah, and I'll take one moment here to make the case for supporting our people as they begin their new journeys.
Yeah.
So we have talked before about the need for affirmation in our bodies. I can tell you that the greatest affirmations I've ever received have been watching or feeling the joy from someone the first time they're finally touching a body that they've craved their entire life, right? Gentlemen, this is a powerful experience I highly endorsed for everyone to encounter at some point, not just your own, but if you have the opportunity to be a good, safe shepherd for someone else into this new world, the rewards you get from it can be amazing.
If you're into that, I've had,
but for me, it wasn't just the pleasure they gave, the affirmation I received from their pleasure in me.
So to
was
speak.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would say to Darcy, I would definitely, I think, dancing of disclosure, but I think also, like with Don, embracing it, and I think also accepting that there will be, I think no matter how experienced you are still more experienced than whatever chaser in other ways.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So and looking at this as finding the people who are willing to explore things as a partnership, and knowing that like you're going to know things I don't know, I know things you don't know.
I like that.
Because no matter the experience of the chaser, there is always new things to learn because everyone is so different. Like Michael said,
I just to piggyback on that, really saying like, you know, if I were Darcy to the other chaser, this is an imaginary scenario. I'm not saying you literally say this, but something along the lines of, yeah, you may have plenty of experience, but you have no experience with me.
yeah,
And I think that's valid to a degree.
Yes, I would caution that could sound like a bit
No,
of a
I
pushback.
wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, but I'm saying that as a reframing.
Like to hold on to.
Like a mental
your own-
reframe.
Yeah,
Not
a
that you
mental
would
reframe, yeah.
I don't know. I think it'd
verbalize
be
that, but-
say something like, "There's a whole lot of exciting things I can teach you."
Yeah.
or something like that.
Well, I would go back to the whole bunch of exciting things I can teach you is, you know, the body. That, as Michael was pointing out, that, you know, Darcy's body, like anybody's body, is unique. But particularly with fat people, the uniqueness, there is more variation body to body than I think there is with thin people, in my experience of chubs.
I've just had some experience with that recently. Michael's like, I'm chuckling because I've had some experience with that recently, showing people some things. And
I kind of want to drag it here for a minute. So I'm going to get graphic for a minute about this. So one of the things, because I do a fair amount of, let's call it outreach and education. And
Dan is a public servant.
you know, it's a burden, but someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to roll up their sleeves.
Get in there and roll up their sleeves.
wrist deep.
Elbow deep. No, so something that is common among, and not just, I want to say inexperienced chubs in a particular way. So let's say you're a chub and you've had, quote unquote, lots of experience. And your lots of experience is basically you've been with a lot of guys who are really good at the suck you, fuck you kind of sex, which is fine. But if you're with a very experienced chaser, there's more to your body than the two ordinary holes that everybody else has too. So there's certain parts of a chub's, especially a super chub's anatomy, that are extremely sensitive, and the chub may not know that because they don't get touched there. Mm-hmm. I'm speaking, for example, the crease of heavy folds. Mm-hmm. That can be extremely sensitive and erotic and erogenous, but only if touched the right way. And so there can be a tendency among and I've run into this with quote unquote experienced chubs who just never been touched like that. And they find it pleasurable but overwhelming. A little like, you know, if you've ever had, if you can imagine the soft touch of like fingertips on a part of skin that's sensitive. Mm-hmm. Like that can be so hot, it's excruciating. Mm-hmm. There is a bit of that in certain parts of a super chub's anatomy, particularly within folds. And it takes an experienced chaser, and they don't necessarily identify as such, who knows how to handle that in a way that won't be too much, that won't create overload. Mm-hmm. And on the other side, if you are an inexperienced chub, meaning that you haven't experienced being touched like that, there can be a tendency to shut that down because it's like, whoa, But there's a way that both sides can approach that sensitivity, because the reward after that becomes more sort of less fear and more excitement. Mm-hmm. That can be extremely, extremely erotic and transcendent.
Yeah, well, I think when you cross that sort of, I don't want to say boundary, but you cross that threshold.
Dare we say Rubicon?
Yeah. I mean, kind of, yeah. With the person for the first time, there's always that moment. I think as a chaser, there's that moment of, you know, maybe by that point you kind of have a sense of what the person's going to be receptive to, and like hopefully that's the case. But you don't necessarily know.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like there is the sort of this, you know, there's an anxious excitement of, we're crossing into territory that can be extremely hot and erotic, but partially because it's a little bit dangerous,
but also slightly
emotionally.
invasive. But slightly invasive, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, once you kind of like, if you get there, and then there's that moment where you both kind of like feel it, and you're kind of like you kind of both have that reaction at the same time. Whew, I'm telling you, if you haven't done that before, to echo Trevor's advice from our first Valentine's Day episode, stop the episode right now. Go out and find an appropriate partner to explore what we've colloquially called fold fucking, because it can, like, if you are both having that positive reaction at the same time and kind of discovering a positive reaction at the same time, oh boy, it can be so good.
If it's done correctly, yeah.
So I guess to kind of just wrap up any advice that may or may not be helpful to Darcy, as a chaser who has had experience with a really wide range of body types, from smaller than myself all the way up to many times my size, the experience, and you could say I'm experienced, but the experience I've had with anyone not in his, size category basically doesn't apply. I
don't understand.
I'm saying if I were to walk in the door and tell him I'm so experienced, but all of that experience wasn't with somebody who looks very similar to him, then it really just doesn't apply. Yes, it's experience in that you're not new, but it's not so many things that you think from having experiences with people who have very different body types just don't really apply anymore, I would say.
Yeah. It's like having a lot of experience with Microsoft Word, but not Microsoft Excel.
Yeah, they're just two different things. Yeah. And I mean, it's sort of, it all falls under the same umbrella of like intimacy and sex, but the chasers walking the door with experience, if they're painting over every chub they've ever been with as though they're like the exact same kind of person, I would be dubious that they actually have as much experience as they
what
say.
it points to is it's just the ordinary suck you, fuck you sex, which is fine.
Maybe, yeah.
But it's not taking the body into consideration. Certainly not taking the person into
that's
consideration.
The key, yeah. So I guess that's my way of saying, to the extent that you may or may not feel bad about that, don't feel bad about that. Because I think...
And in some cases, maybe you dodged a bullet with that guy.
Yeah.
Well, for the bit today, I thought we might go into... there are these ads that people put online.
Oh my.
Personal ads, right? And while we're very fluent in them today, we're very good at everyone has their own personal ad. If you go back in time, there was this period when we printed these things called newspapers. People put personal ads in newspapers.
Have you been excavating the Village Voice where my personal ad appeared?
I've got a few different personal ads here. Now, I thought what I would do is I would combine... Now, Michael has an interesting game that he's played during some of the bits where it's the pick out Don's writing. Okay, so that's what we're doing today. I have brought a number of personal ads, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to present you a personal ad and a personal ad that I have written.
Okay,
and see if you can pick out Don's personal ad
and who gets the date.
Our first pair.
Okay.
Single man, diabetic, would like to meet or get to know single people, men and women, who have diabetes mellitus, and would be interested in helping me start a nudist colony just for people with diabetes. Or, single female contortionist, 45, seeks her strongman. Circus performer retiring from the road seeks to start new life with supportive, stable man, no geeks.
And these are from the past? These are from newspapers?
All of the things that I have brought are from newspapers from the 60s through the 90s.
The first one is real.
Well, that's
my thought too.
I was thinking the first one was fake until the no geeks. I'm like, that's too... I feel
as soon as I heard contortion, I thought that was Don, but I'm curious to see if we're right or wrong there.
So diabetes real.
All three of you are on board for diabetes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all of you are correct. I want to know if this man actually started his diabetes nudist colony.
I love it.
The problem with your writing is that you're too interesting.
Well, and also I remember I was alive during this time and I read those ads, so I'm fluent in newspaper ads.
All right, well, we're going to hold you to that. We got a few more here.
Diabetic nudist colony.
All right, our second pair. Adventurous Catholic seeks female partner in crime. Must be devout, kind, hygienic, and enjoy travel. Let's see the country together with the goal of taking communion in all 50 states. Or, widow, 47, 5'2", 120, men only. Interested in stimulating conversation, unconventional recreation, dancing, philosophy, astrology, witchcraft. No Idaho.
Second one's real.
Yeah,
I think the second one's real too, although the left turn into witchcraft was interesting.
So the first one, I think a devout Catholic would not say partner in crime because crime is a sin.
Being with another woman, not a sin.
Yeah.
No, you know what got me?
What?
Idaho.
Yeah, I think the second one is the
Second one.
Yeah.
Second one.
Is the real one.
You all are on point. I am not doing well today. All
No,
right.
it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's just I'm too fluent in this language.
All right.
I won't speak first next time.
Our next pairing. Enrique Sanchez, you turn me on. Signed, Enrique Sanchez. Amen. Or, looking for a single, very attractive woman who will appreciate me for who I am. I am smart. I am funny. I am very handsome. I'm allergic to dairy and wheat. Dislike beans. Size 5, shoe or above, need not apply.
That's
Read
a
the
toughie.
first one again?
That's toughy.
First one. Enrique Sanchez, you turn me on. Signed, Enrique Sanchez. Amen.
Does anyone know who Enrique Sanchez is?
I think it's the person who made.
Is there a celebrity reference I'm missing?
No,
I am
don't think so.
unfamiliar if there is a celebrity reference.
Okay.
I think the first one is real, but I don't know how or why.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. I think the first one is real, but the second one, what I think is a mark of authenticity, if it's you, Don, is the shoes.
The shoes.
The shoe size.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Just filter
That's
people by
really
shoe
good.
size.
That's really good.
What are you thinking, Trevor?
I'm thinking the same. The Enrique Sanchez one is just too weird.
People, yeah, it's too confusing. It's too
Yeah,
hard
like,
to
and
figure
it's-
out what the hell the
'cause it's
person
not-
is
Nobody
thinking.
would write that if they're making up a personal ad.
All right. You guys got me again. Enrique Sanchez is the real one.
3 for 3.
All right. Here's the next pairing. Male type person who
Sorry,
thought
male what kind?
male type person
Type TYPE.
who thought he recognized me at Brady Festival. Thanks for saying I'll get better, even though I won't. Let's talk more. Lisa, the girl in the wheelchair. P.S. My apologies to those I hit. I have a horn now.
That's hysterical.
I love that. That's just literature.
Or, lady who helped me out of the cheese vat. I've been washed and waxed and don't smell of curds anymore. Dinner? Maybe something dairy-free.
I think the first one's real.
Yeah.
Going for
that's
the first one there?
That's my take. Yeah.
Trevor? All right. Dan looks like he's on the fence.
Yeah, no, these are getting harder.
Helped you out of the cheese
Vat.
That.
What was the first one? Where was she?
Male type person who thought he recognized me at Brady Festival. Thanks for saying I'll get better even though I won't. Let's talk more. Lisa, the girl in the
to me, that
wheelchair.
just smacks of like self-referential, sort of brutally realistic, disabled humor. Like I feel like that's.
You think it's real?
I think that's real.
Yeah.
I think that's real. And if you wrote that, then I think it's brilliantly written.
Yeah, this is the only one we're splitting on. I think the cheese is real.
Cheese is real? All right.
Okay.
In fact, the real one is the wheelchair lady.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Good job, Don.
All right. Our final pairing of the day. 1. I like meat. Do you like meat? Let's eat meat. Female preferred. Or, male connoisseur of Albanian fruits and vegetable seeks female connoisseur of Nicaraguan knishes.
That's got to be done. I think the first one's real.
I'm going to go with the first one because I have no
Yeah.
strong feelings either way.
All right. In fact, the real one is male connoisseur of Albanian fruits and vegetables seeks female connoisseur of Nicaraguan.
Almost a perfect record.
Almost, but I
Damn you.
stuck it in at the end.
You stuck the landing.
Trevor, if one of our listeners is having a lovely Valentine's Day and they'd love to tell us about their Nicaraguan knishes, where could they do that?
Well, we're on Blue Sky and Instagram as @BigFatGayPod. We're on Facebook as the Big Fat Gay Podcast. Leave us 5 stars and a review there or on your preferred podcast platform. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/BigFatGayPod. See the articles we talked about at www.bigfatgaypod.com, baby. Maybe you have a giant box of chocolates in the shape of a heart in your lap and you're finishing the last one. There's wrappers all on the floor and you've been saving this one. It's all extra round and there's a little rosette on the top and you're biting into it.
We've thought a lot about this, haven't we,
There's
Kevin?
something hard and you spit it into your hand and it's Michael.
Hey! Happy Valentine's Day! What were you laughing at?
Because you were grooving out like a DJ Edison. I was laughing.
Oh.
It was awesome.
I gotta get my stimming in somehow.